Barcelona are quietly building something terrifying. When you look at names like Marcus Rashford, Gonzalo Garcia, Pablo Torre, Lamine Yamal, and Pedri, you realize this isn't just a squad, it's the foundation of a dynasty. And with Hansi Flick in charge, the year 2026 could be the start of a new golden era at the Camp Nou. The depth, the energy, the mentality, it's all coming together, and it feels inevitable. But what exactly does this new Barcelona look like? And can they truly conquer Europe and chase the treble this season? Let's rewind. Under Flick's first year, Barcelona didn't just win, they destroyed their opponents. The La Liga title, the Copa del Rey, and the Spanish Super Cup all ended up in their cabinet. 3 trophies in one season. That alone is incredible. But it's not just about the silverware, it's about the manner in which they did it. This wasn't the old Barcelona scraping through narrow wins or relying on last-minute brilliance. No, this was a machine. A side that played with intensity, discipline, and total belief in the system. Flick's philosophy was clear from day one: relentless pressing, lightning-quick transitions, and ruthless control. Yes, they dropped a few games in La Liga, but those were tiny cracks in an otherwise dominant campaign. For most matches, it didn't even feel like a contest. Barcelona were operating on a different level. And in the big games, they didn't just win, they sent messages. The tactical balance, the fearlessness, the squad depth, it all combined to overwhelm opponents who simply couldn't keep up. This wasn't the hesitant, sometimes flat Barcelona we saw under Xavi. Under Flick, the team has swagger. Even when they're trailing, they play with confidence and composure. Remember the Benfica game? 10 men, a goal down, backs against the wall, and yet they found a way to turn it around. Not through luck, but through structure and mentality. That's the Flick difference. Still, there was one painful blemish: the Champions League. A bitter elimination, losing to a side that didn't even score in the final. That one hurt. But Flick, he's not sulking. He's already plotting revenge. He wants every trophy next season, including the one that slipped through his fingers. And here's the scariest part: the squad he's building for that challenge looks even stronger. Let's start in goal, because this is where serious changes are brewing. Last season, veteran Wojciech Szczesny shocked everyone by coming out of retirement. Nobody expected him to still have that level in his locker, but he delivered. 14 clean sheets in 30 games. A steady presence, reliable shot stopping, and moments where his leadership saved points. He proved doubters wrong. But as good as he was, he's not the long-term solution for Flick.
Why?
Because Flick's system demands more than just saves. He needs a goalkeeper who can play as a sweeper, build from the back under pressure, start counters with pinpoint passing, and step off his line fearlessly. Szczesny brings experience, but his passing range, mobility, and comfort outside the box don't fully fit Flick's blueprint. So, what about Marc-Andre ter Stegen? He's been Barcelona's trusted #1 for years. Fans love him. He's delivered massive saves and carried the team in tough seasons. But here's the twist: Flick isn't sentimental. He's ruthless. If ter Stegen doesn't match the tactical profile, he's replaceable. And that's where things get interesting. Barcelona could be on the verge of a goalkeeper revolution, setting the tone for a squad built not just to compete, but to dominate every aspect of modern football. And that's just the beginning. Because Flick's Barcelona isn't just about plugging holes. It's about constructing a team so strong, so complete, that winning becomes inevitable. Technically, yes, he fits the blueprint of the modern goalkeeper. Good on the ball, calm in distribution, capable of producing spectacular saves when needed. But the truth is far less convincing. The reality is that there have been too many moments of inconsistency. He still struggles to command his area when crosses fly in under pressure, too often leaving defenders exposed. And even more damaging, he remains prone to costly lapses in judgment during the biggest matches. Mistakes that simply cannot happen if Flick is serious about taking Barcelona deep into Europe next season. Iñaki Peña was given opportunities too, but his story has followed the same pattern. Under intense pressing, hesitation creeps in. His authority in the box wavers, and when decisions need to be brave and vertical, he takes the safe option. Flick doesn't want safe, he wants ambition, progression, and a goalkeeper who can double as the launchpad of his entire system. That's why Barcelona's attention has turned to Jean Garcia. And let me tell you, this kid isn't just different, he's special. At Espanyol this season, Garcia has been nothing short of sensational. And it's not just about the highlight reel saves, though he has plenty. It's about his entire approach. He's composed, proactive, and reads the game with a maturity far beyond his years. You can see the influence of Neuer all over him. Like the German great, Garcia doesn't simply react, he anticipates. He steps off his line fearlessly, plays like an extra defender when needed, and thrives under the sweeper-keeper role. His footwork under pressure is razor-sharp, his distribution both quick and precise, and above all, he's constantly engaged. He's not a goalkeeper who waits for the game to come to him. He shapes the game himself. That is exactly what Flick demands. And then there are the big moments, the defining trait of elite keepers. Take the Barcelona derby back in November. Espanyol lost 3-1, but Garcia stood tall with 6 world-class saves against his future employers at the Olympic Stadium. Under siege for 90 minutes, he kept the scoreline respectable and showed he could remain ice-cold in the most hostile of atmospheres. Then came February against Real Madrid, where relegation-threatened Espanyol pulled off a shocking 1-0 win. Garcia was man of the match, producing 7 saves, including 2 in the dying moments, single-handedly shutting down a Madrid side in full flow. That wasn't just a performance, it was a statement. And if you want a glimpse of pure technical brilliance, look no further than his stop against Real Sociedad a week later. Lucas Susita broke clean through, but Garcia timed his block to perfection, saving with his foot in a moment that went on to win La Liga's Save of the Month. These aren't isolated highlights. These are repeated demonstrations of mental toughness, razor-sharp reflexes, and a complete command of high-pressure situations. He has been tested relentlessly in one of the toughest defensive environments in Spain, and he has passed every time. That's why bringing him to Barcelona isn't about nurturing a prospect. It's about upgrading the entire system. In Flick's setup, the goalkeeper isn't just the last line of defense. He is also the first line of attack, the heartbeat of transitions, the foundation of control. Jean Garcia ticks every single box. With him in goal, Barcelona will have the confidence to press higher, dominate possession with greater security, and recover aggressively without fear of getting caught out. And here's the terrifying part for the rest of Europe. This is just the beginning. Because behind Garcia stands a defensive line that Flick has quietly, yet decisively, transformed. It's not flashy, it's not making social media headlines, but it is what makes this Barcelona project look frightening as 2026 approaches. Just ask Jules Kounde. Finally settled into the right-back role, under Flick there's no drama, no central defense debate. He has embraced the position, sharpened his movement, and brought balance to a backline that suddenly looks ready to dominate. He has finally mastered the art of balance, knowing when to push high and when to sit back. His sense of timing has become razor-sharp, whether it's in a last-ditch tackle or a perfectly measured overlapping run. In possession, he's no longer just a defender. At times, he steps inside as an inverted fullback, almost like an auxiliary midfielder. From there, he stitches play together with crisp, accurate passes, helping Barcelona progress the ball smoothly through the thirds. He isn't simply filling a role, he's redefining it and making it his own. And behind him, the centre-back pairing of Pau Cubarsí and Íñigo Martínez might just be Barcelona's most complete defensive duo in recent memory. Cubarsí is extraordinary. His composure at such a young age borders on unreal. He doesn't lunge recklessly or lose his head. Instead, he reads situations early, positions himself intelligently, and plays with a maturity that makes you forget he's still a teenager. But it's not just about solid defending. Cubarsí adds so much to Barcelona's build-up. His ability to carry the ball out from the back, break defensive lines with laser-sharp passes, and remain calm under heavy pressure has opened a whole new dimension in the team's build-up play. Next to him, Íñigo brings the steel. He may not be flashy, but he is battle-tested and reliable. He thrives in aerial duels, throws himself into challenges, and handles the physical side of defending that often goes unnoticed. He's the one doing the dirty work, winning headers, clearing danger, covering for ball when he charges high up the pitch. The chemistry between him and Cubarsí is already evident. They don't step on each other's toes. Instead, they complement one another perfectly. That trust, that understanding, usually takes years to build, but Barcelona already has it. And then comes the real difference maker, Alejandro Balde. His injury last season disrupted Barcelona's rhythm, but now that he's back to full fitness, the transformation is obvious. Defensively, he's a nightmare for wingers: quick feet, tight body control, and discipline that prevents him from diving in recklessly. His one-on-one defending is elite. But where he truly changes games is in attack. His overlapping runs stretch defenses wide, creating space for the left winger. And when he drives into the final third, he has the awareness to deliver the right pass at the right time. Having Bald is like having an extra winger who can also defend at the highest level. What makes this Barcelona backline truly formidable now is the depth. This isn't a unit that collapses when rotated, it stays rock solid. Ronald Araujo might not start every game, but whenever called upon, he's a wall. His recovery pace, physical presence, and ability to dominate one-on-one duels allow Barcelona to play a daring high line without fear of being exposed in transition. Then there's Eric Garcia, a player many had written off. This season, he's been clutch, stepping in during injury crises, performing with confidence, and even scoring decisive goals in comeback wins. He finally looks like he belongs. And don't forget Christensen, another key piece of the puzzle. Whenever Inigo needs rest, Christensen slots in seamlessly, no panic, no dip in quality. His reading of the game and calmness on the ball make him a natural fit for Flick's possession-heavy system. Even in fullback rotation, there's cover. When Bald needs a breather, youngsters like Mika Faye Martin or Hector Fort step in, holding their ground with maturity well beyond their years. They don't just fill in, they maintain the standard. This isn't just a defensive line anymore, it's a defensive ecosystem, carefully constructed and tactically flexible. Flick has turned Barcelona's defense from fragile and thin into one of the most balanced, reliable, and future-proof backlines in all of Europe. Flick's Barcelona finally has balance. No longer does the defense depend on one or two warriors holding everything together. This season, Flick has a system, he has depth, he has rotations, and most importantly, he has options. Every defender contributes, every role matters. The structure doesn't collapse when one piece is missing, it adapts. That's the real difference. And now that the backline looks steady, the spotlight shifts to where the heartbeat of Barcelona lies, the midfield. If there's one area of this squad that feels closest to complete, it's here. This midfield isn't just strong, it's loaded with quality, depth, and flexibility. It's the engine room of Flick's project, and under his management, it's starting to look like a machine. At the core are 6 names: Frenkie de Jong, Marc Asado, Pedri, Gavi, Dani Olmo, and Fermin Lopez. Together, they bring control, chaos, and creativity, the kind of blend most clubs in Europe can only dream about. Frenkie de Jong remains the conductor of rhythm. But under Flick, he's no longer drifting aimlessly across the pitch. His role is sharper, more vertical, more disciplined. When he plays, Barcelona can breathe under pressure. He can break lines, escape the press, and turn defense into attack in a single stride. Beside him, Marc Casado has quietly grown into the perfect partner. He does the dirty work, screening the backline, covering spaces, breaking up play. He's not flashy, but he's intelligent, and Flick trusts him because he never switches off. Then comes the creativity. Pedri is Barcelona's chess master. He scans, connects, and unlocks spaces that defenders don't even realize exist. Next to him, Gavi is pure fire. He presses relentlessly, tackles fiercely, and frustrates opponents with his bite. But don't let the aggression fool you. He also has the intelligence to time his runs into the box and the finesse to slip passes through tight defensive lines. And then there's Dani Olmo, who adds the attacking thrust. He floats between lines, drifts wide, and forces defenders into uncomfortable positions. When Barcelona slows down, he injects goals, movement, and unpredictability. He doesn't just play in the system, he breaks it open. Meanwhile, Fermin Lopez is the wild card. He's not here to keep things ticking, he's here to drive. Direct, fearless, and aggressive, he changes the entire tempo the moment he steps onto the pitch. He might not be refined in every detail, but his impact is undeniable. And just when you think the midfield depth ends there, the next generation is already waiting in the wings. Pablo Torre is being groomed for a central attacking role, with his sharp instincts in tight spaces and ability to pick passes that split compact defenses. Marc Bernal, still young but remarkably composed, looks like another piece of the future puzzle. These aren't just backups, they're seeds of what Barcelona could become. This is what Flick has built, a midfield that no longer revolves around one or two stars, but a complete engine room of specialists and creators, each with a role, each with a voice. For the first time in years, Barcelona's midfield feels like it belongs to the future, not just the past. For all the elegance and variety Barcelona's midfield has, there's still one problem that keeps Flick awake at night. When you're away from home, up 1-0 in the Champions League knockout rounds, and the clock is ticking down, you don't need more flair, you need steel. That's why a name like Thomas Partey makes so much sense. He's not a long-term solution. At 32 in 2026, the future isn't built around him, but he offers something this squad desperately lacks: immediate impact. Partey isn't about Hollywood passes or viral highlights. He's about control in chaos. He shields the back four, wins duels, slows down the tempo, and drags the game back onto Barcelona's terms. That kind of presence is exactly what Frenkie de Jong and Casado don't consistently bring. Flick wouldn't have to risk a young midfielder in a high-stakes defensive role. He'd have a seasoned anchor who knows how to close out battles on Europe's biggest stages. With Barcelona's fragile finances, a cut-price move for Partey isn't just smart, it could be the difference between heartbreak and survival. He'd be the glue that makes the midfield bulletproof, not just beautiful. But midfield solidity is only half the story. Because in Barcelona, fans don't just want protection, they want firework. That front three of Rafinha, Lewandowski, and Lamine Yamal already looks balanced and dangerous. Rafinha brings intensity and directness, pressing high, cutting inside, and constantly testing defenders. Lewandowski, even in the later years of his career, is still a master in the box, sharp with his movement, ruthless with his finishing. And then there's Yamal. Not just a rising talent anymore, but a fully fledged game breaker. Whether it's gliding past defenders or threading impossible passes, he's the one opponents build game plans to stop. But the interclash showed a painful truth: depth is missing. By extra time, Yamal was swarmed by double and even triple teams. Rafinha was gassed, Lewandowski isolated, and Flick had no weapon on the bench to change the script. For all their quality, Barcelona had just one attacking plan, and when that plan hit a wall, they had no escape route. That's why the whispers about Marcus Rashford have grown louder. He's not the kind of name Barcelona usually goes for, but maybe that's the point. At Manchester United, his form collapsed under Amorim's system, and it looked like the spark was gone. But then came his loan to Aston Villa, and suddenly Rashford was reborn, confident, direct, ruthless again. The old Rashford returned, bursting past defenders, scoring off the shoulder of the last man, playing with freedom. And here's the key: his game is exactly what Barcelona's attack is missing. A fresh, pace-driven, unpredictable option who can stretch defenses and take pressure off Yamal. Imagine Champions League nights where defenders can't just double-team the teenager because Rashford is darting in behind, demanding attention. Suddenly, Barcelona doesn't just have artistry. They have unpredictability, speed, and ruthlessness. Rashford might not be the typical Barcelona signing, but in Flick's evolving system, he could be the shock factor that takes this team from promising to unstoppable. Marcus Rashford isn't coming in to replace anyone. He's coming in to rotate, to refresh, to give Barcelona a second weapon when defenses think they've figured everything out. His ability to play wide or centrally makes him a perfect fit for Flick's counterattacking blueprint, especially when opponents push high and leave space to exploit. That versatility is priceless in the modern game. And while all eyes go to Yamal and Lewandowski, there's another name quietly becoming Barcelona's secret weapon: Ferran Torres. 19 goals and 7 assists in under 2,000 minutes. That's not just good, that's elite efficiency. Flick trusts him because Ferran knows his role. He times his runs, arrives in the box, or even cover on the right. Ferran always delivers with energy and intent. He doesn't need headlines to make an impact. He just scores, he just produces. And in a team chasing multiple trophies, that's gold. But here lies the danger. Yamal's workload. He's still a teenager, yet already carrying the responsibility of a superstar. He's shown flashes of fatigue, and overplaying him could be a risk Flick simply can't take. Yes, Rafinha can shift across when needed, but that kills the team's balance. Which is why the whispers about Leroy Sané are so fascinating. Sané, available on a free, might just be the low-risk, high-reward gamble Barcelona has been waiting for. He's worked under Flick before, thrived under his system, and knows exactly how to handle the pressing demands and positional rotations. He's lightning fast, technically sharp, and dangerous with or without the ball. More importantly, he doesn't just fill in. He stretches defenses, finds space, and scores goals. Imagine being able to rest Yamal and still have a winger who terrifies defenders. That's the kind of depth champions are built on. And that's the point. Barcelona's project isn't just about a dazzling starting 11. It's about crafting a squad where the backups don't weaken the team, they extend its power. Flick is building more than a lineup. He's building a machine. Every player with a role. Every position with a purpose. Every move designed for one clear outcome: dominance in 2026. But the question remains, will it be enough? Can Flick's Barcelona rise above the chaos of financial struggles, injury risks, and Europe's toughest rivals to reclaim their throne? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you check out our last video, Manchester United's 2026 squad rebuild.